In programming, decision-making is a crucial concept that allows us to execute specific blocks of code based on certain conditions. In Python, we utilize if statements to implement this logic. This lesson will cover how to use if statements effectively, providing you with the tools to build interactive programs that respond to user input and other variables. Don't worry if this feels new at first. Now we're on understanding if statements. An if statement is a control structure that lets you execute a block of code only if a specified condition is true. The syntax of an if statement is straightforward. The samples on screen walk through this step. Take a moment to read through them. Here's a breakdown of the components. First, condition. This is a Boolean expression that evaluates to either true or false. Finally, block of code. This is the code that will run if the condition is true. It must be indented to indicate it belongs to the if statement. Let's move on to basic example of an if statement. Let's look at a simple example to illustrate how an if statement works. The following code checks if a number is positive. See the example. On this slide, pause if you want to study the details. In this example, since the variable number is set to 5, which is greater than 0, the output will be. The samples on screen walk through this step. Take a moment to read through them. If we change the value of number to -3, in this case, the output will be nothing because the condition is false. Now, using else and elif statements. Sometimes you may want to execute different blocks of code based on various conditions. In such cases, you can use else and elif, short for else if, statements. The syntax looks like this. I'll let you read the examples on screen rather than reading every line aloud. Here's a complete example that checks whether a number is positive, negative, or 0. See the example on this slide. Pause if you want to study the details. In this case, the output will be. Now we're on nesting if statements. It's also possible to nest if statements within each other. This means placing one if statement inside another. Here's how that looks. The samples on screen walk through this step. Take a moment to read through them. In this example, since number is 10, the output will be. I'll let you read the examples on screen rather than reading every line aloud. In this lesson, we covered the following key points about if statements. First, an if statement executes code based on a condition. Also, we can use elif and else to handle multiple conditions. Finally, if statements can be nested to create more complex decision trees. Now put what you've learned into practice. First, write a program that checks if a user's age qualifies them as a minor, adult, or senior citizen. Also, create a program that checks the temperature and prints whether it's hot, warm, or cold. Finally, implement a program that evaluates the grade of a student based on their score, e.g., A, B, C, etc.